Hi, my name is Matthew Bennett from Dallas Public Library in Dallas, Texas. I chose today to read a little bit from Little Brother by Cory Doctorow. I've read this book before. I find that you shouldn't be afraid of technology, and so it's a really good book. And those so-called jammers who were on the news this morning after this city was attacked by people we've declared excuse me, shows up and they catch the bad guys and prevent them from doing it again. They did this by enduring and inconveniencing their fellow citizens. They did it to show that our rights were being taken away in the name of protecting them, I said. Okay, I shouted. God, she had me so steamed. They did it because the government was treating everyone like suspected terrorists. So they wanted to prove that we shouldn't be treated like terrorists, Charles shouted back. So they acted like terrorists? So they committed treason? I boiled, and for Christ's sake, committed terrorism? They showed that the universal surveillance was more dangerous than terrorism. Look at what happened to the park last weekend. Those people were dancing and listening to music, and that was terrorism? The teacher crossed the room and stood before me, looming over me until I shut up. Marcus, you seem to think that nothing has changed in this country. You need to understand that the bombing of the Bay Bridge changed everything. Thousands of our friends and relatives lie dead at the bottom of the bay. This is a time of national unity in the face of violent insult our country has suffered. I stood up. I had had enough of this. Everything has changed. National unity, the whole point of America is that we're the country we're the country where dissent is welcome. We're the country of dissidents and fighters and university dropouts and free speech people. Maybe everything had changed. I believe you know where Miss Benson's office is, she said to me. You will present yourself to him immediately. You will not have my classes disrupted by disrespectful behavior. For someone who claims to love freedom of speech, you're certainly willing to shout down anyone who disagrees with you. I picked up my school book and my bag and stormed out. The door was a gas lift. It was impossible to slam, so I would have slammed it. I went fast to Mr. Benson's office. Cameras filmed me as I went. Excuse me, and gated my record. The RFIDs and my student ID broadcast my identity to sensors in the hallway. It was like being in jail. Close the doors, Marcus, Mr. Benson said. He turned his screen around so that I could see the video feed from the social studies classroom he'd been watching. What do you have to say for yourself? That wasn't teaching, it was propaganda. She told us that the Constitution didn't matter. She said she wasn't a religious doctrine, and you attacked her like some of the fundamentalists, proving her point, Marcus. You of all people should understand that everything changed when the bridge was bombed. Your friend Daryl, don't you say a goddamn word about him, I said, the anger bubbling over. You're not fit to talk about him. Yeah, I understand that everything's different now. We used to be a free country, and now we're not. Marcus, you know that there's what zero tolerance means? I backed down. He could expel me for threatening behavior. It was supposed to be used against gang kids who tried to intimidate their teachers, but of course, he wouldn't have any compunction for using it on me. Yes, I said, I know what it means. I think you owe me an apology, he said. I looked at him. He was barely surpassing his sadistic smile. A part of me wanted to grovel. I wanted to beg for his forgiveness for all my shame. I tampered that part down and decided that I would rather get kicked out than apologize. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from their consent of the governed, and whatever any from the government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying the foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form so that they shall seem like to affect their safety and happiness. I remembered it word for word. He shook his head. Remembering things isn't the same as understanding them, Sonny. He bent over his computer and made some clicks. The printer purred, handed me a sheet of paper. Warm, broad letterhead on it said I had been suspended for 2 weeks. I emailed your parents now, and if you're still on the school property in 30 minutes, you'll be arrested for trespassing. I looked at him. You don't want to declare war on me and my own school, he said. You can't win that war, so go. I left.